Anthony Wright from the Canterbury Museum. Oh, just Anthony.
Nigel is here.
Oh, Nigel's here.
Kia ora tātou. My name's Anthony Wright, Director of the Museum. I bring apologies from David Ayres, our board chair, who couldn't be with us today, but I'm supported by our independent board members, Tom Thompson, and until very recently, Grant Lovell, who's had to slip away for a memorial event for the two of his staff that tragically died on Taranaki last week. So he's sorry he can't be here. Also supported by Nigel and Margaret Noble, who is our newly appointed operations manager at the museum. I'll crack straight into the presentation because I'd like to make the key points. We're overall very grateful for the Council's support, but our annual plan has been very carefully prepared over many years, particularly in relation to the effects of depreciation costs over a 20-year horizon. So we've negotiated this over many years with yourselves and the other three CLAs that support the museum. It's been approved in full by the three district councils. And I just want to raise that the unintended consequences of breaking with it will be pretty significant in outer years. We acknowledge the difficult financial situation the council finds itself in. We request you to review a few points in terms of your provisions in the LTP. And they are particularly, we request that the operating levy, which has been put in at 0%, is increased to 2.7%. That has already been a reduction from the predicted 5% to 2.7%, and that's involved no cost of living adjustments and operational cuts of 95,000. And against that, Christchurch City residents' visitation has increased substantially over the last year from 84,000 residents to 129,000 residents. And there's the overall visitation picture over a 20-year period. You can see apart from the earthquakes and COVID, it is going in the right direction. We further object to reduction from the 2.7 to 0% because it will mean further cuts to repairs and maintenance. Our buildings are ageing, and so R&M is high. We'll have to look at our touring exhibitions and or staffing cuts as well. This will impact on health and safety, our collection and visitor environment, and our service levels. The long-term compounding impact on levy levels I'll come to shortly. We submit in support of the operating levies for the next 2 years. They are 5% as requested, and we're grateful for that. Thank you. We object to the inflation-only figures that have been put in from 24-25 to 27-28. The next LTP review would be too late for our financial planning, and those figures are critical to our future funding streams. The other CLAs, I note, have included those requested increases in their LTPs. As I said before, they've been previously negotiated and agreed, and they have the effect of smoothing increased depreciation charges post our major capital redevelopment project. The cumulative impact of your draft LTP provisions would potentially require 25 to 30% levy increases in outer years if we don't continue this gradual process that we've negotiated. We submit in support of the capital grants that you have included in the LTP, and they're detailed there in the submission. Thank you very much for those. We ask that you consider bringing forward your capital grant and program timing by 1 year in each case for the museum and the Robert McDougall. It'll cause us, you've pushed out our request by 2 years. We can accept a 1 year later, so we're asking you to meet us in the middle and come back. Any funding delays will create us cash flow problems going forward. So we request that the museum premises start in 23-24 and the McDougall Gallery in 22-23. And that's the effect of going from what's shown in the second to bottom line there in colour to this, and for the McDougall from this to this. We submit in support of the capital program consultation on the Robert McDougall Gallery base isolation. Obviously, the RNG is owned by council and leased to the museum. You have a provision for 11.8 million base isolation and basement under consultation. This is vital for the whole project and also vital to secure the central government contribution. We request that the capital grant is confirmed starting 23-24. And finally, we submit in support of your targeted heritage rate. We agree that this is a great idea for museums, heritage and arts. It provides additional transparency, and we thank you for that. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions from councillors? Sarah?
Thank you so much. And we've heard lots over the last couple of years on this. What is the what would the consequence be if we chose not to do the additional funding for the base isolation?
It throws the whole redevelopment project into jeopardy.
In what way?
It's the basis of our resource consent that's out for a hearing is due in a couple of weeks' time, and it's a fundamental part of base isolation underneath the whole of the complex to make it usable. The McDougall basically becomes unusable for museum or gallery purposes without that base isolation.
Thanks.
Thank you. Well, that comes to the end of the time for the presentation, so thank you very much for doing so. Thank you.
Kia ora koutou. Thank you.
We're running a little bit behind schedule, so this a lot behind.